Alright guys, so we're going to go and start lesson number 74. We are skipping lesson 73 because that is a geometry lesson. So we are going into lesson 74. And lesson 74 is called Inserting Parentheses and Order of Addition. It is going to be on pages 234 and 235 if you have your textbook and would like to follow along to see the exact examples that I'm going to see as I'm going through this lesson. Now, this is a rather basic lesson. I believe that most of you guys have probably run through this before, but we need to review this lesson, and it is important because this is where the mind shift changes and shifts from all of the arithmetic that we have done in the past and then now it's shifting to going into algebra and beyond, where we have to start having this mindset when running basic subtraction or addition problems. Because as the chapter starts off, in arithmetic, we've always seen that minus, we have a minus sign right here. Minus means to subtract or to take away. So 5 minus 3 equals 2. 5 take away 3, we have 2 left, which is true. 5 minus 3 does equal 2. But in algebra, because as we start going into algebra, we need to start having this mind shift change. In algebra, this equation would mean 5 add negative 3, which would equal 2. Now, this equation, it gives us the same result either way that we do it, whether we do it 5 minus 3 or 5 add or 5 plus negative 3, but it's a different thought process. And this is the thought process that you kind of have to have when you're going into algebra, and especially once you get into algebra 1 and algebra 2, this is the thought process that they start using in arithmetic. So it's just helpful to go ahead and learn this starting it off now, so that way you don't have to figure it out and try to catch up later. If you go ahead and just figure out, again, pre-algebra is all about principles. If you go ahead and just get this principle down, then you know you'll be set later when you get into future lessons and future textbooks. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean the screen off here so we can have a blank canvas. And some problems we'll see, especially in this math book, they're not going to write out, they might write it as a normal or a normal looking equation problem. They might write negative 4 plus 3 minus 2 minus 6. Which when we see an equation like this, we get really excited because we finally feel like we get to an easy problem that we can do. And I know you guys are doing really well with the problems, so we can go through this one as well. So the first step when we see an equation like this, in algebra and pre-algebra, how we need to start thinking is that we need to start viewing each of these as a signed number that we're adding together. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put them in brackets. These are imaginary brackets, but we can still draw them on our paper to help us see where our signs are at. So we're going to draw our brackets around our 4 signed numbers here. So once we have our brackets inserted, now we're just going to add our addition or our plus sign. So we have negative 4 plus a positive 3 plus negative 2 plus negative 6. And now we would just solve this problem as we saw in the lesson last week. So we would just go through and we would say negative 4 plus positive 3. Well, which number is bigger? 4 is larger, so we know our sign is going to be negative. And then, since they're different, we take the difference. 4 minus 3 is 1. So we have negative 1 plus negative 2 plus negative 6. We would continue here. Negative 1 plus negative 2, they're the same signs, so we know our sign is going to stay negative. 1 plus 2, because they're the same, so we add them together, is 3. Plus negative 6. And then finally we take negative 3 plus negative 6, and our signs are the same, so it stays negative. They're the same sign, so we add them together. 3 plus 6 is 9. So this right here would be our answer, would be negative 9 for this specific equation. Looking at this, instead of just going negative 3 adding negative 4 plus 3 minus 2 minus 6 and doing it the way that we typically would run math, and starting to think about it in this equation or this situation, this type of saying negative 4 plus positive 3 plus negative 2 plus negative 6, this is what's called algebraic addition, because now we're no longer subtracting numbers in our mindset, we're adding two numbers. And this obviously is a very, very basic example of how to do this, but we need to start basic so we can understand the principle and the rules followed behind this form of algebraic addition. And this is the form that we are going to use for now on. We are going to add all of our signed numbers instead of subtracting numbers. So we'll go ahead and clear our screen off here again. See, I ran out of clicks, but I can get rid of it this way. Alright, after that little hiccup, we're back on track. Okay. So if you are looking and following along in your book with me, at the very top of page 235, we see example 1. And it says minus 2 plus 3 minus 5 plus 7. And on the example, it says add negative 2 plus 3 minus 5 plus 7. So the first thing that we're going to do, just that we saw in the last lesson, is we're going to go ahead and add parentheses to mark off where our signed numbers are at. Then we're going to add in our plus signs just to help keep us in line so we don't forget what we're doing. And then we're going to start adding these signs together. So negative 2 plus positive 3, the positive sign is bigger, so we're going to write a positive sign, a plus sign. And since they're different, negative 2 and positive 3, the signs are different, we're going to take the difference. So 3 minus 2, the difference is 1. So our answer there is positive 1. We're going to go through and add positive 1 to negative 5, which is our signs are different again. So the bigger sign is the negative 5. 5 is bigger than 1, so the sign is going to be negative. And the difference between 5 and 1 is 4. So positive 1 plus negative 5 is negative 4. We're going to keep moving left to right. Negative 4 plus positive 7 They're different signs, so the positive sign is bigger. 7 is bigger than 4, so the sign is going to be positive. And the difference between 7 and 4 is 3. So our answer here is going to be positive 3. This is what our answer would be. Now, there is one other way that you can run this through. Either way, you will get the correct answer. It's just by personal preference which way you would like to do. If you want to work left to right so that you don't get lost, that is completely fine, and you will get the correct answer if you do the correct addition that direction, left to right. Another thing that you can do is you can go forward and you can add all of your negative numbers together first, and then you can go through and add all of your positive numbers together. And then add those two numbers to get an answer if you want to draw less things out. To do that, we would go through with our negative numbers first. We would say negative 2 plus, because we have a negative number right here, negative 2 plus negative 5, obviously is negative because they're the same sign, and 2 plus 5 is 7. Then we would go and add all of our positive numbers together, however many we had. Positive 3 plus positive 7 is positive because they're the same sign. 3 plus 7 is 10. Then once we had one negative number and one positive number, we would add those two together. Negative 7 plus positive 10 . The positive number is bigger. 10 is bigger than 7, so our number is positive. And the difference between 7 and 10 is 3. You'll get the same answer if you do it this way as if you went left to right. Whichever way personally you like to do better, you will get the same answer, and both equations are written out in the textbooks for either option that you would prefer to do.